So before starting with some of the questions of merger and acquisitions that we were doing, let me revise again some of the concept of merger and acquisition. We have learned a general thing how to find out EPS, that is earnings divided by number of shares. But the new concept was a PE ratio. We have covered it at our lower level, but still understanding portion was important. It is MPS divided by EPS. So by same formula, we can say MPS is equal to EPS multiplied by PE ratio. So it is also termed as a price multiple. Why price multiple? When earnings are multiple by this number, you get a price, that is market price of share. We went to EPS 1-2, which was nothing but earnings of company 1 plus earnings of company 2 plus synergic gain in form of earnings divided by N1, that is existing number of shares of existing shareholders, plus N2 into exchange ratio. So the concept came of exchange ratio, and we have understood exchange ratio based upon MPS, that is MPS of selling company divided by MPS of purchasing company. Exchange ratio based upon EPS, that is EPS of a selling company divided by EPS of purchasing company. Exchange ratio based upon book value, that is book value per share of selling company divided by book value per share of purchasing company. These are some of, and we have done questions whereby the exchange ratio is based upon average of this exchange ratios. The average weight will be given in the question. This is exchange ratio based upon MPS, based upon EPS, based upon book value. See, what does this logically means is, when your exchange ratio is based upon MPS, you are giving to all the shareholders of selling company their market value. When the exchange ratio is based upon EPS, you are giving them earnings, and whenever it is book value, you are giving them worth or their book value. That's correct. This is exchange ratio. This is existing number of shares of purchasing company. This is the shares issued by purchasing company to shareholders of selling company. Sorry. This is EPS 1-2. We have also learned MPS 1-2, which is nothing but EPS 1-2 multiplied by PE ratio of 1-2. If it is not given, we can assume that PE ratio of purchasing company is remaining same. If it is given, we have understood the point. One more concept that we learned was equivalent EPS and equivalent MPS. Equivalent EPS and MPS. Please concentrate first. EPS and MPS equivalent can only be of selling company, because their number of shares are changing. First they were holding some number of shares in selling company. Now they are holding some another number of shares in purchasing company. So the number is changing. So only the concept of equivalent EPS and MPS. First let me tell you how to find out equivalent EPS of selling company. It is nothing but EPS of merged company multiplied by exchange ratio. How to find out equivalent MPS for selling company is MPS 1-2, that is MPS of merged company multiplied by exchange ratio. Sir, where this EPS and MPS are used? Let me find out. Let me tell you about MPS, and EPS will be obvious. If the shareholders of selling company, if shareholders of selling company were having 1 lakh shares, is it correct? What was their pre-MPS? That is before merger. What was their MPS? I can write it down. Minus what is their post MPS? I should not write down. What I should write down is post equivalent MPS minus say it is post, but equivalent MPS. If you compare this to and multiply by their number of shares which they were holding in selling company, you directly get benefit to shareholders of a selling company. So only it is termed as equivalent, so that you can easily compare it with pre and get your answer of post. How to find out? Also the use I have explained you of equivalent EPS and equivalent MPS. Now try to concentrate. We are going into next heading. Before going into next heading, try to understand what we were doing in current heading. We have understood exchange ratio based upon market price. We have understood exchange ratio based upon earnings per share, that is EPS. Try to concentrate. In merger and acquisition, you are valuing selling company. When you say your exchange ratio is based upon market price, you are valuing the selling company based upon market price. So how much money or worth you are giving to shareholders of selling company is N2, that is number of shares of selling company multiplied by MPS2. This is how you are finding out the value of a selling company or purchase consideration. This can also be termed as purchase consideration. Yes, of course you will be issuing your company's shares having some market value, and the exchange ratio will be based upon MPS, and we have done it from the concept of MPS. But this is what is actually valued as far as based upon market prices concerned. Yes, another concept that we have learned is based upon earnings. See here how you are valuing the company, selling company. That is nothing but N2 multiplied by EPS 2. This is value of selling company. Now try to concentrate. There are other methods by which you can value selling company. Which are that methods? Try to understand. You can value selling company by general rule of finance. How to value anything in finance is present value of future cash flow. You can value it in this manner. How? You will determine how much cash flow the selling company is going to generate for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, infinite. Find out your required rate of return. That is purchasing company's required rate of return. Or anyone who wants to purchase this company, their required rate of return. Find out the present value at that required rate of return. You will be getting answer of present value of future cash flow. That is nothing but value of selling company. There is another method also, net asset method. We have learned this. It is as good as book value method. You find out agreed value of both the assets minus value of outside liability, whatever amount you get. Assets minus outside liability. This you do n numbers of times in amalgamation. Will be nothing but value of selling company. See, there might be other weird method also for valuation of selling company, but basically there are 4 methods by which you can value the selling company. The question which we have done up till now concentrated more on this. Today the questions that we are going to do will concentrate on this present value of future cash flows. We are doing some of the time value of money concept based some of the merger and acquisition concept which is based upon time value of money. We are going to see 7.2.1. ABC company is considering acquisition of XYZ Limited, which has 1.5 crore shares outstanding. So this is a detail about selling company. Outstanding and issued. The market price per share is rupees 400 at present. ABC's average, ABC is a purchasing company. Their average cost of capital is 12%. Available information for XYZ Limited for next 3 years is as follows. 1 to 3 years. So this company is going to run only for 3 years and the cash flow will be 250 crore, 300 crore and 400 crore. Calculate the range of valuation that ABC has to consider. Alright. First, I am valuing from our general point of view. That is a market value. Sorry. ABC company is a purchasing company. Which company is selling? XYZ Limited. How many number of shares? What you are valuing? Selling company. How many number of shares are there in selling company? 1.5 crore shares. What is market price of the share? 400. 600 crore is nothing but a valuation of XYZ Limited based upon market price. Based upon market price. Sir, we have not done this. We have done this. Believe me, when you write down exchange ratio based upon market price, this is the value you are giving to selling companies or shareholders. Alright, it is nothing but purchase consideration when exchange ratio is based upon market price, or value of selling company when the exchange ratio is based upon market price. Is it alright? So, selling company shareholders will not agree below 600 crore rupees. Why? 600 crore rupees they can get it from market. If they sell all their shares in the market, they are going to get 600 crore. So, they will not agree with less than 600 crore. Alright. Let us see our situation. Who are we? ABC, which is purchasing company. First, what is our discount rate or required rate of return or cost of capital is 12%. Our required rate of return is 12%. See, what does this mean? Any project which is earning me more than 12%, I undertake that project. Any project which is earning less than 12%, I don't undertake that project. Alright. So, my minimum required rate of return is 12%. If I purchase XYZ Limited, what cash flow it will be giving at the end of each year for the period of 3 years? 250, 300, 400? How to value anything in finance? I am valuing from the point of view of ABC company. If I purchase XYZ Limited, this will be my cash flow. Present value of a future cash flow. Now, how to find out present value in this chapter, I will not be going in detail. If you are not knowing it, you can go to first chapter or valuation. This is how I find out a present value of a future cash flows. Which is 1 divided by 1.12 is equal to multiplied by 250 is equal to m plus. 1 divided by 1.12 is equal to multiplied by 300 is equal to m plus. 1 divided by 1.12 is equal to multiplied by 400 is equal to m plus. MRC 747.08. 747.08 crore rupees. If you have seen some of my valuation lectures, please concentrate. This is a maximum price. ABC Limited is ready to pay for XYZ Limited. ABC Limited will not pay more than 747.08 crores. XYZ Limited will not sell less than 600 crore. Based upon negotiation, the limit will be between 600 crores to 747.08 crores. What will be this? Limit within which the price will be negotiated between purchasing company and selling company. Purchasing company is not ready to give more than this. Selling company will not be ready to accept less than this. And so this is known as limit or price range, which you have found. Sir, actually at what rate it will be sold? It will be dependent. Based upon purchasing company, selling company, they will be sitting and deciding what is the price of the selling company and at what rate ABC company will be purchasing a purchasing company. Understand, ultimately there are two bases of valuation. One is by market value. One is by present value of future cash flow. We have valued the company by two methods and we have just decided a price range between which the company will be sold or purchased. See 7.2.2. The equity shares of XYZ Limited are currently being traded at 24. Let me write down, tick mark the detail. This is MPS. We don't know XYZ Limited is purchasing or selling. In the market, XYZ Limited has a total 10 lakhs equity shares. This is N. Outstanding in numbers. And promoters' equity holding in the company is 40%. So 4 lakhs of the shares are held by promoters. PQR Limited wishes to acquire XYZ Limited. So XYZ is the selling company. So all the information given is of selling company. Because of likely synergies, the estimated present value of this synergies is 80 lakhs rupees. Right. So present value of this synergies, believe me, is a synergic gain. Alright. And first time, this is synergic gain based upon earnings. No. Every year the company is not going to earn 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 5 lakhs rupees. Is that right? It is a present value of all future cash flow. So ultimately it is valued and so it is synergic gain based upon market value. Sorry. Not market value but value. But exactly it is not based upon earnings. Further, PQR feels that management of XYZ Limited, which is a selling company, has been overpaid. So once they take away the company or does a takeover of the company, they will not be paying more to management. Management are holding probably 40% of shares. So their salary as a CEO, managing director, financial director is high. With better motivation, lower salaries and few perks for the top management will lead to a savings of 4 lakh rupees per annum. Top management with their families are promoters of XYZ Limited. Present value of this savings would add rupees 30 lakhs in value of acquisitions. Try to concentrate. What are benefits of merger in terms of value? Number one, there is a synergic gain, not in terms of earnings. Already present value of that synergic gain is found out of 80 lakhs. Number two, now you will be taking over XYZ Limited and the owner of the XYZ Limited were at high post. You will still keep them at high post, but you will be giving them better motivation, good perquisites, and their salary will be reduced. So ultimately your company, that is purchasing company, will be benefited because now higher level management is given less salary and there will be savings, and present value of that savings is 30 lakhs. Present value of cost reduction is 30 lakhs. For acquisition, following additional information is available regarding PQR Limited. Now, this is a purchasing company. earning per share is 4, total number of equity shares outstanding is 15 lakhs, market price of equity share is rupees 40. So information of selling company and purchasing company is given. Required. What is the maximum price per equity share which PQR Limited can offer to pay for XYZ Limited? What is the maximum price purchasing company can offer? Maximum price purchasing company can offer. Try to understand. In terms of market value, if I am a purchasing company and if I am purchasing your company, you are all selling company, then what market value will be added to my company? Assuming both the companies are having same PE ratio, same market capitalization, sorry, same PE ratio, not same market capitalization. But if we both are having same PE ratio, your market value will now be added to my company. And what is your market value? How many number of shares you are holding? 10 lakhs at the rate of rupees 24. Market value of a selling company now will become our market value. So we should pay that amount. That is 24 rupees MPS multiplied by number of shares, which is 10 lakhs. It will become 240 lakhs. This is market value of selling company, which a purchasing company will be normally paying. But there are synergic gain. So this synergic gain, if I am very much interested in purchasing your company, I might transfer you synergic gain also. Now please concentrate. This is market value. You cannot add synergic gain in forms of earnings in this particular answer. So synergic gain will be added, but present value of synergic gain, that is as good as market price is given. Correct. So it is 80 lakhs. So you may give it to selling company. Sir, as a purchasing company, we are getting a synergic gain of 80 lakhs. Why we should give it to selling companies, the shareholders? Good question, but understand, we have not yet given. We are just finding out what maximum price we may pay. Out of this, we might give them only 10 lakhs. Is it all right? But we are finding out a higher limit. What is the maximum price we will be ready to pay to the shareholders of selling company? Also, if we purchase that company, we are getting benefit in another form also. That also we may transfer them. And what was that benefit is 30 lakhs. Present value of reduction in cost is how much? 30 lakhs. Total will be 350 lakhs. Try to concentrate. This is a maximum value purchasing company will be ready to pay to selling company. This is not value actually paid. This is a maximum value which purchasing company will be ready to pay for to purchase selling company. It is 350 lakhs. What is market price of share of purchasing company? Is 40. So if I want to give you 350 lakhs and my one share is of 40 rupees, this is how many shares I'll issue you. It is 8.75 lakhs. 8,75,000 shares at the rate of rupees, market price of rupees 40 will be issued. And please understand, they are not actually issued. What we are finding out is maximum. This is a maximum price we as a purchasing company can pay to shareholders of selling company. Believe me, if we pay this, actually the benefit to purchasing companies shareholders will be zero, and there will be a huge benefit to selling companies shareholders. But as I told you, this is a maximum price and not an actual price. We always will be negotiating. But always remember, you need not give more than 8,75,000 shares to them. They are having 10 lakh shares. So the maximum exchange ratio should be 0.875. You should not go beyond that. Sorry. That is what is this question is asking. What is the maximum price you are ready to pay for this particular company? Alright. Number 2. What is the minimum price per equity shares at which management of XYZ Limited will be willing to offer their controlling interest? Alright. How much do they control? 40% of the company? That is 4 lakh shares. Is it alright? So, promoters control will be 24 lakhs into 40% or 4 lakhs into 24. Number of shares multiplied by market price is 24. See now what is happening? Purchasing company is going to only promoters of selling company, and they are asking promoters to sell their stock. Correct. So what promoter, if they are selling in the market, what amount they would be getting is 24 lakhs into it is 4 lakh into 24, which is 96 lakhs. That's correct. So they will be minimum requiring 96 lakhs. Is it correct? But understand, now what they are losing is, now they are losing their additional remuneration which they were getting because they were the promoters. They were getting that money extra because they were at higher post and that post was highly paid. Now what they will be losing in terms of present value? Please understand, this is a market value. You cannot deduct or add 1 year's earning in this. You need to deduct or add value in it. And so this is present value. So for promoters, this will be lost. Remuneration in terms of value, what is that value? 30 lakhs. So they will not sell their promoters interest at 96 lakhs, but they will be selling their interest at 96 lakhs, 1 crore 26 lakhs. Is it alright? So they will be ready to sell their promoters interest. See what they will be telling to purchasing company. Our market value is 96 lakhs. So we want 96 lakhs. But from now onwards, we are not going to get that extra salary. Salary they were getting because of they were working. Now they will not have to work, so they should not get salary. But they say that because we are losing our promoters' interest, we will be losing that extra salary and we want 30 lakhs rupees for that. That is present value of that salary lost. So they want 1 crore 26 lakhs, but now they are only 4 lakh shareholders. How many number of shares they should be issued? 1 share of purchasing company is worth rupees 40. 1 crore 26 lakhs divided by 40. That is 126 lakhs divided by 40. It is 3,15,000. 3,15,000 shares minimum promoters will accept. This is from the point of view of a selling company. No, from the point of view of selling companies, promoters, that this are number of shares promoters want. Now they can negotiate other things from outsiders, or first they may purchase the promoters' interest, take over the company and then go for buyback and take whole of the company. That is dependent upon purchasing company. But promoters will not agree for less than 3,15,000 shares of purchasing company. How many they are holding? 4 lakhs. How many minimum they want? Minimum they want 3,15,000. So minimum exchange ratio which they want is 0.315. No, they were having 10 lakhs, not having 10 lakh shares. So minimum exchange ratio they want is, the promoters want is 315 divided by 400. It is 0.7875. Maximum what purchasing company can offer is 8,75,000 shares in exchange of 10 lakh shares. That is 0.875. Will the merger crystallize? The answer is yes. Try to concentrate. Minimum they want this. Maximum they can issue this. Is there a range? The answer is yes. There is a range. Is it all right? They will be asking for more, somewhat more than this. They will be going for less than, somewhat less than this. So ultimately the merger will crystallize. Is it all right? So this is nothing but, if they ask you the range, this is the range of exchange ratio. It is a range of exchange ratio will be between 0.7875. Selling company will negotiate more than this, and 0.875. Purchasing company will not be ready to pay more than this. Exchange, in terms of exchange, I have told you range in terms of exchange ratio. Never asked in examination, but if it is asked, it should become an extremely easy question and not a difficult one. Correct. Yes, this exchange ratio is based upon only promoters, not this exchange ratio is based upon not whole of the company of selling company, but promoters of selling company. Is it all right? Ultimately, you will have to convince promoters to sell the company. Is it all right? This is question number 7.2.2. Is it all right? All right. Let me ask to a student. Anyone can answer me. If this was 0.70 and this was 0.50, then what would have happened? Can anyone tell me the range? Any student can tell me the range. Anyone who can tell me the range?
Sir,
Yes.
minimum exchange ratio offered to promoters is 0.5 and the maximum offer the purchasing company can offer is 0.7.
Alright, so the range will be between 0.5 and 0.7.
Yes, sir.
Is it? Alright, so selling company are not ready for less than this, and purchasing company are not ready for more than this. It is absolutely alright. The range is between 0.70 and 0.50. Yes, Jaimin, you are on the line. You tell me. If I change this, if this is 0.50 and this is 0.70, then what?
Sir, it cannot be possible, I think.
This can be possible, but what will happen then?
The minimum exchange ratio is 0.17. Then they will be gaining. So I mean, selling companies, promoters will be gaining something.
But yet it is not decided. Exchange ratio is not yet decided. See, when there is a range, when you are going for negotiation,
So, then the purchasing company will not acquire, as they will be not getting any benefit out of purchasing.
exactly, merger will not crystallize. Correct. Try to concentrate. You make chapters difficult by names, merger and acquisition. Go for genes. Jai sir is purchaser. Jaimin is seller. Minimum price which Jaimin wants for jeans is rupees 2000. Maximum price Jai sir is ready to pay for the jeans is rupees 3000. Now we are negotiating. Will the deal happen? The answer is yes, because I am maximum ready to pay 3000 and Jaimin minimum wants 2000. Is correct. So the deal will happen between 2000 to 3000. Is it correct? But understand, if this is reverse, if Jaimin minimum wants rupees 5,000 and I am maximum ready to pay rupees 3,000, we will not start even negotiation. Even if it will start, the negotiation will end with no deal. Sorry. Because he is not ready for less than 5,000 and I am not ready to pay more than 3,000. How the deal will happen? What will be the range? There will be no range. Range will happen when this is like this, 3,000 and 2,000. Then only there can be range. Otherwise, there cannot be a range. Sorry. So, this is important. Sometimes understand, a good question paper setter will give you this answer and ask you what is range, and you will write down this, believe me. Alright. And if I am a paper checker, I'll give you out of 8 marks only 4 marks, because you are not understanding the question. You are not understanding the conceptual idea. You just know calculation. Alright. But had you written this, as the merger, as the selling company's shareholders require rupees 5,000 and purchasing company are maximum ready to pay rupees 3,000, merger will not crystallize. Believe me, even if you have done some calculation mistake, I'll ignore it and I'll give you 8 out of 8 marks, because your logical understanding or concept is absolutely clear. Sorry. This was 7.2. We are going to 7.2.3. Should be marked as good question. More of valuation, less of merger, but still. Yes Limited wants to acquire No Limited. And the cash flows of Yes Limited and the merged entity are given. So No Limited cash flow is not given. Start. Yes Limited cash flow is given and merged entity cash flow is given. And these are cash flows. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 years. Alright. Earning would witness 5% constant growth rate without merger and 6% with merger on account of economies of operation after 5 years in each case. Believe me, it is pure question of valuation of security, but we will be doing in this point also. The cost of capital is 15%. This will be always a purchasing company. The number of shares outstanding in both the companies before the merger is saved. So how many number of shares are there? It is not given, but they both are same. And the companies agree to exchange ratio of 0.5 shares of Yes Limited for each shares of No Limited. So exchange ratio is determined to be 0.5. Present value factor at the rate of 15%, which is our cost of capital, is this. Try to concentrate. I am valuing the merged entity. First, let us see what are the questions. Compute the value of Yes Limited before and after merger. So we need to find out this valuation also, this valuation also. Value of acquisition. Gain to shareholders of Yes Limited. Alright, we will be finding out each and everything. Alright. Try to understand first. We just need to find out. First, value of both the companies. Which both the companies? Yes Limited before merger and Yes Limited after merger. So it is a practical question of present value. Let me find out before merger. And after merger, I'll be writing directly. Before merger, I am finding it out of Yes Limited. Yes Limited, before merger, what are the cash flows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One is 175, 200, 320, 340 and 350. Sir, from 5th year cash flow is 0. No. earnings would have witnessed 5% constant growth without merger. As I am doing without merger, I will be taking a growth rate of 5%. And when it will end, it will never end. So from now onwards, there will be 5% growth. Let me first find out 6th year cash flow. 350 plus 5 percentage, 367.5. Start. This is nothing but 6th year cash flow. This will be growing at 367.5. Let me write down with a different color. This will be growing at a growth rate of 5% for infinite period of time. Sir, a difficult one. No, if you know the valuation of security concept, it is very simple. What is valuation of security? Is valuation of a company, present value of a future cash flow. The rate given is only one rate available, which is 15%. So I will be discounting this at the rate of 15%. How to do it is somewhat typical. I will be first finding out answer of present value, that is a value at the end of 0 year for this 5 years. This will be 1 divided by 1.15. I think present value factor they have given. Yes, let me use this factor this time. It is 0.870. If factor is given, you can use it. 0.870. 0.756, 0.658, 0.572, 0.497. And believe me, this figure is nothing but 1 divided by 1.15 raised to 5. This figure 0.497. Just that figure is directly given to me. So let me first find out this 5 years answer. It is 175 into 0.870 is equal to M plus 200 into 0.756 is equal to M plus 320 into 0.658 is equal to M plus 340 into 0.572 is equal to M plus 350 into 0.497 is equal to M plus. MRC is 882.44. 882.4. But it is only of 5 years. I want present value for all the figures. So this portion is pending. See what I'll be doing. I will be using the formula this. If I want the present value at the end of 0 year, I need to take cash flow of first year divided by rate of interest minus G. Those who don't know, this is present value of infinite cash flow with growth formula. You can directly find it out. But here, cash flow of first year is not available. So this will become cash flow of 6th year and this will become cash flow of 5th year or value of 5th year. The concept can be modified or the formula can be modified. What is cash flow of 6th year? Is 367.5. Rate of interest is 15% minus 5% is 10%. Is it all? This answer will be 3675. It is 3675. What was this? 882.44 plus 3675. This cannot be done because this is value at the end of 0 year. This is value at the end of 5th year. So I will convert this value at the end of 0 year and then I'll be adding to this figure. Sorry. How to convert this into value at the end of 0 year? This is value at the end of 5th year into 1 divided by 1.15. That is my discount rate raised to 5. Sorry. Believe me, what will be 1 divided by 1.15? It is 0.497, which is this. Is it correct? So you can directly multiply this factor. 3675 multiplied by 0.497. 3675 multiplied by 0.497. It is 1826.475. Now, can these two figures be added? Yes. Is it all? And it will be total present value of all these figures. Is it all? It is 1826.475 plus 882.44. $2708.915. And these rupees are in crores. They have given they are in crores? No. Alright. So whatever might be the answer. This is a value of Yes Limited before merger. Sir, how to find out value of merged entity in same manner? Exactly same manner. Growth rate will become 6%. The figures will change. Discount rate will remain 15%. The same method, I am not just repeating, I am just writing it down. Sorry. Merged entity. It is 5308.47. And this is 2708.915 before merger. 2708.915. These are the two things. I have not calculated this, but you can easily do it by same method. Just growth rate, understand, should be taken as 6%. And this we have already found out. Let us see what questions are asked. Compute the value of Yes Limited before and after merger. That we have done. Value of acquisition. Let me elaborate it what they are trying to ask you. What value purchasing company would be getting because of merger? See how much they will be giving to selling companies shareholders, how much they will be synergic gain, nothing. They are just trying to find out what will be my value addition because of merger. Before merger, what was your value? After merger, what is your value? This value is of Yes Limited only. Both the value is of Yes Limited. This is after merger, this is before merger. After merger, what was value? Before merger, what was value? And this will be value of merger. Not exactly profit because of merger, because this profit might be, should be given to selling company shareholders. But if just someone asked me nominally what is the value addition because of merger, so number of shareholders are also increasing. Absolutely alright. How much value is added is this? Is it alright? It is 5308.47 minus 2708.915. It is 2599.555. Start. Now, question number 3. Gain to shareholders of Yes Limited. Start. Now it is difficult. Why I tell you? Number of shares of both the company is not given. What is given is only one word, that they both were same. Is it a value? Both were same. Is it alright? Number 3. Assume Yes Limited N1 was 1000 shares. I am making the concept somewhat easy. Rather than doing it in proportion, I am assuming some figure. Sir, can't we assume 100 shares? You can always do it. Can't we assume 1000 shares? You can always do it. Can't you assume 10 crore shares? You can always do it. But then N2 should also be 1000 shares. Start it. Before merger, how many number of shares will be issued? Number of shares to be issued to selling companies, the shareholders, is N2 multiplied by exchange ratio, that is 1000 into 0.50. Exchange ratio is given is 500 shares. What will be total number of shares of merged company? Total number of shares of merged company is total of merged company will be 1500 shares. They are just telling me to find out benefit of shareholders of purchasing company. Let me find it out. Benefit to shareholders of purchasing company. Let me tell market value, but before it is already found out. Before merger, what was market value of purchasing company is 2708.915. What is after value of merged company? No. Only purchasing companies shareholders. What is their after value? Sir, it is a 5308.47. Yes. But this is of merged entity to both the shareholders. That's right. How much value will be shared by purchasing company shareholders? See, out of this 1500, believe me, 1000 shareholders are of purchasing company and 500 shares will be selling companies, the shareholders. Right now we are finding out of only purchasing companies shareholders. So purchasing companies shareholders are having 1000 divided by 1500, that is 1 divided by 1.5 portion of total merged entity. Is it correct? You can also find out this. 5308.47 is total market value of all the shareholders. Then what is market value per share? And then you can multiply it with 1000. You will be getting same answer. Is it correct? And this answer will be 5308.47 multiplied by 1000 divided by 1500. It is 3538.98. 3538.98. After is more, so there is a benefit or profit of difference. 3538.98 minus 2708.915. It is 830.065. Somewhat good question, somewhat different question, different than what is normally exchange ratio as per market price. And but this cannot be categorized as a difficult question. It is easy question. Just if this is asked the first time, to interpret it is very difficult what they are asking. Is it correct? Otherwise, this all concepts are same. Yes, number of shares were not given, but you can take 1. If this is 1, this will be 0.5. And this ratio, believe me, will be 1 divided by 1.5, which is same. Try to concentrate. So, this is nothing but, again, an average sum. Not easy, not difficult, but average category of sum. 7.2.4. Alright. A big question. AB Limited is planning to acquire and absorb running business of XY Limited. AB is purchasing, XY is selling. The valuation is to be based on recommendation of merchant bankers and consideration is to be discharged in form of equity shares to be issued by AB Limited. Alright, so this is very normal. As on 31st March 2006, the paid up capital of AB Limited, this is purchasing company, consists of 80 lakh shares of rupees 10 each. This is face value. But number of shares N1 is 80 lakhs. The highest and lowest market quotation during the last 6 months were 570 and 430. For the purpose of exchange, the price per share is to be reckoned as an average of highest and lowest of market price during last 6 months. Believe me, for just issuing the shares, they have just twisted the question. Believe me, they have not even twisted, they have just made the question lengthy. 570 plus 430, which value will be used? None of the value, average will be used. Average will be 500. If you do 570 plus 430 divided by 2, it will be 500 rupees should be taken as MPS of purchasing company. That's fine. XYZ Limited, this is a selling company. Balance sheet is given. There is equity shares. Now here the concept becomes somewhat typical. 20 lakhs equity shares. This is of selling company. Of rupees 10 each fully paid up. And 10 lakhs equity shares of rupees 5 paid up. Differential shares are available. So discharge will be somewhat relevant. Otherwise the question is easy. Loans are there, fixed asset is there, and net current asset is there. An independent firm of merchant bankers engaged for the negotiation have produced the following estimate cash flow for business of XY Limited. 31st March 2007. This was 2006? Yes. So this is at the end of 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year and 5 year. Terminal value will be also at the end of 5th year. Terminal value is scrap value. These are the cash flows given? Yes. It is recommended of merchant banker. Now why merchant banker recommendation is important? Both the companies have decided that they will be merging or the takeover will happen based upon the recommendation of merchant banker. That the business of XYZ Limited may be valued on the basis of average. Simple average. Aggregate of discounted cash flow at 8% and net asset value. So, in any purchase consideration or finding out merger and acquisition, you want value of selling company. Merchant banker says you find out the two values of selling company. One by net asset, one by present value at the rate of 8%. Sorry. And what will be the ultimate value paid to the shareholders of selling company? Ultimate value to be paid of shareholders of selling company is average of this. Alright. So this will be the value which will be paid to shareholders of selling company. Let me find it out. First, present value at the rate of 8%. 105, 120, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 105, 120, 125. 120. Terminal value is, yes, it should be added. Is it? Because this is also at the end of 5th year, this is also at the end of 5th year. So 300. Present value at the rate of 8%. I am not finding it out. I am directly writing, assuming you will be very comfortable finding out this. This is nothing but 592.40. 592.40. If they are lakhs, they are lakhs. They are crores, they are crores. That is absolutely right. Alright. So, what is the valuation of selling company based upon present value of future cash flow is 592.40. These are the cash flows which I have discounted at the rate of 8%. This is my answer. What is the value of selling company based upon net asset? Net asset, believe me, is the total asset 350 minus outside liability is 100, that is 250, or it can be found out by share capital plus reserves. Here there is no reserves, so share capital, which is 250. So two manner, just it is easy, but I am doing it. Total asset 350 minus outside liability 100 is 250, or equity plus reserves, which is also equity, is nothing but 250. So net asset value is very simple. It is directly given. It is nothing but 250 rupees. Start. What merchant banker has recommended? What should be the price, the total price payable to the shareholders of this company? It is average. When nothing is given, you can take simple average. Plus 250 divided by 2. This much amount will be paid. 592.4 plus 250 divided by 2. It is 421.2. Is this lakhs? Yes. 421.20 lakhs. That's correct. Please try to concentrate. What is amount payable to shareholders of a selling company? Total is 421.20. What you are paying them? You are giving shares of purchasing company which is worth rupees 500 per share. These rupees are in lakhs. How many number of shares should be issued? Will be this divided by this. 421.20 divided by 500. This is lakhs, this is just 500. 421.20 divided by 500. The answer will be in lakhs. It is 84,240. Will be issued by purchasing company to shareholders of selling company. To shareholders of selling company. My question to student is, we were not finding out this answer at any point of time in our category number 1 question. We were not finding out this answer. What is amount paid? We were directly finding out exchange ratio. Exchange ratio based upon market price. We were not finding out this answer. Where was this answer hidden when we were doing that category number 1 sum? Exchange ratio based upon market price and exchange ratio based upon earnings. Any student? Where are we finding out this answer? The answer is no. Can anyone tell me what would be this answer? This answer, amount payable to the shareholders of selling company if exchange ratio is based upon MPS. If exchange ratio is based upon MPS, what amount you are paying to all the shareholders of selling company? Can anyone tell me? No one? Stuti?
Sir, can you repeat the question?
See, what is amount payable to the shareholders of selling company? Here we have found out by totally different method. Net asset and present value of future cash flow. Sorry. See this figure. This is nothing but valuation of selling company. Believe me, this is also valuation of selling company by taking average. In category number 1 questions, where that EPS was to be found out and this type of questions, we were never finding out value of selling company. Directly we were getting all the answers. We were never finding out the company's selling. My question is, if exchange ratio was based upon MPS, what is the value of selling company? Question mark. Or amount payable to all shareholders of selling company. Anyone can give the answer.
Sir, market value of the company.
Exactly.
In this question, sir, market value is not given.
In
this current question, the market value
I'm not
of selling
talking about
companies-
current question. I'm talking about if exchange ratio is based upon MPS. What is the price payable to selling company, or what is the value of selling company which has been made?
So market based on market price into number of equity.
Exactly. Is it all right? So this is not something new. My point is, this is not something new which we are doing. Is it all right? Just here the exchange ratio directly is not given. So we need to find out what is payable to the shareholders of selling company, then divided by the price of the share of purchasing company, and I get this. And now I can find out exchange ratio if I want. Is it all right? Why? Number of shares that are given divided by number of shares they are holding will be getting exchange ratio. But that is also not easy. Is it all right? But see here, these figures were never coming in that particular point, because there we were getting directly this answer based upon exchange ratio. So finding out this figure was not becoming relevant. Sorry. Now this is good. Try to concentrate. 84,240 shares will be given to all shareholders of a selling company. Who are the shareholders of selling company? They are 20 lakhs equity shares of 10 each, and 10 lakhs of 5 each. How you will distribute the shares? I will tell you. In the ratio of 2:1, say these are A category shareholders, these are B category shareholders. Now you need to distribute the shares. Should this be distributed to A and B in the ratio of 2:1? Anyone? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Then what ratio? Who gave the answer? Yes, sir.
20:5. 20:5.
How 20:5? Can you explain me?
Make halfly paid up shares to fully paid up.
I'll do it into 2 into 2. All right. Yes, Sachin.
Sir, there were 10 lakhs of rupees 10 each, where 5 rupees is paid.
All right.
So 5 lakhs.
So I should not do what I have done. All right.
So there is 5 lakhs of rupees, 5 lakhs shares of rupees 10 each, which is fully paid up.
Exactly. Is it all right? See, I'll give you an easy answer. Based upon this, what is the ratio? 2:1. But all of you at this level understand that this cannot be a ratio. Those are different category of shareholders. Those are different category of shareholders. Is it all right? Believe me, then distribute the shares in terms of value. Is it all right? This is a 2:1. This is 10. This is 5. See what I'll tell you. This is 20. You can also take here 20 and 10. It will be easy. 20:10. Not a good ratio, because this 20 shares are of rupees 10 each. This 10 shares are of rupees 5 each. Then what is a good ratio? Good ratio is value. Is it all right? What is this? 200:50, which is 20:5, which is 4:1. Is it all right? So this should be distributed in the ratio of 4:1. Is it all right? A category of shareholders will be getting 84,240 into 4 divided by 5. $84,240 into 4 divided by 5. It is 67,392. How many they were holding? 20 lakh shares. How many they are getting? Only 63,392. Is it correct? B category of shareholders were holding 10 lakh shares. Now they will be getting, all the shareholders will be getting remaining shares. 84,240 minus 67,392. 16,848 shares will be getting to B categories of shareholders. This will be given to A category of shareholders. That's all right. My question to student is, what is exchange ratio in this question? Anyone can give me the answer. What is exchange ratio in this particular question? No one? This all calculation is of selling company. Hint. Mac?
Sir, I joined late, but maybe 84240, that is the number of shares we are getting,
Alright.
divided by 25 lakhs that are already issued.
25 lakhs are never issued.
I mean the outstanding share capital of the company.
It is 20 lakhs into, alright, 25 lakh shares are never issued. Total shares issued are 30 lakhs.
That is all right, but because 5 rupees is not paid up, so I have taken weighted average.
Alright, so I'll tell you, your answer is correct. But concentrate, if someone tells me to find out exchange ratio, there are two categories of shareholders, then exchange ratio for both the categories of shareholders will be different. Sorry. Exchange ratio is nothing but what you are getting divided by what you are having. What A is getting? What A is getting is 67,392. What they are having is 20 lakh shares. What B category of shareholders are getting? 16,848. Divided by how many they are having is 10 lakhs. Find out this exchange ratio. 67,392 divided by 20 lakhs is 0.03369. And for B category of shareholder, exchange ratio will be 16,848 divided by 10 lakhs, which is 0.0168. Go to basics. What does exchange ratio means? B category of shareholder will be getting this many shares of purchasing company for one share held in selling company. A category of shareholders will be getting this many shares of purchasing company for every share held in selling company. They both are separate category of shareholders. They cannot have a common exchange ratio. Is it alright? Say, if exchange ratio is 2, A category whose paid up value is 10 rupees, they will be also getting 2 shares, and B category who are having 5 paid up value, they will be also getting 2 shares. Then there will be injustice. Is it alright? And believe me, there will be some relationship in exchange ratio. 0.0168 multiplied by 2 will be nothing but this, 0.3369. Can anyone explain me this? This multiplied by 2 is this.
It will always be that because its paid up share capital is half.
Exactly. Is it alright? So try to concentrate broadly. These are weird numbers. But the exchange ratio of A category of shareholders say comes 0.5. Then exchange ratio of B category of shareholders will come 0.25. Both the shareholders will be having a different exchange ratio. Sir, how to find out EPS 1-2? You don't need to directly use the formula. You can find out total number of shares which are issued to selling company shareholders plus n1 will become your denominator, and you can always find out n EPS 12, and once you get EPS 12, you can also find out MPS 12. But still, such a deep category of question is not asked up till date. Is it alright? But that is absolutely alright. See, thus I tell to n numbers of students who make mistake. It is not relevant to solve 100 questions without understanding it. Better is to solve 5 questions with understanding what is asked, with understanding what is not. See, exchange ratio is not asked over here. Still, I have found it out. I have found out the exchange ratio. Is it alright? Find out the exchange ratio. See how it is different. Think logically for all the answers that are there in particular question. And believe me, solving of more 10, 15, 20, 100 questions will be prevented. And you should not do it. Just doing repeated questions or even some new questions without understanding it, better is understand all the questions and do it. Sorry.
Sir.
Yes.
One second. Again, I mean, the numerator has been divided by 25 lakhs and the denominator is on the next slide. On the next slide.
For finding out?
Yes, for finding out this exchange ratio, the numerator has been divided by 25 lakhs and the denominator is 30 lakhs. Now, we can't compare that. We need to keep 5 lakhs over there, sir. Because if the partly paid up,
Here.
Yes,
10 lakhs is number of shares, huh?
Sir, number of shares is alright, but if I go to sell them, partly paid up shares can't be sold, then I will get the value of only 5 lakhs. So we can't divide 10 lakhs because numerator has been divided by 25 lakhs, if you can see. I mean, you know that.
Numerator is divided by 25 lakhs. Where?
Sir, 200 is to 50. See the ratio.
That is alright. Understand. This is just for distribution.
That distribution is on the basis of paid up share capital. That's what I am telling.
Agreed. Is it alright? But this is not numerator. Is it alright? This is just a basis, a logical, mathematical basis of distributing. Is it right? This ratio is just for distribution. You cannot apply it logically that, sir, these figures are in numerator, so the numerator is found out based upon 20:5 ratio. You cannot do it. This is just logical decision. See, why I tell you you say that, sir, this should be a common exchange ratio. If you will do, you will be getting common exchange ratio. Is it alright? If you are doing it by 25, you are getting this 0.03369. You will be getting it. Is it alright? But understand, this is not a correct exchange ratio. Is it alright? Why? Then finding out EPS 12, in denominator you will do this, N2 into exchange ratio. Then your N2 should be taken as 25 lakhs and not 30 lakhs. Is it alright? Then only you will be getting correct answer. Is it alright? I'll tell you a simple thing. Mac, you are holding 100 shares of category B. What will be your paid up value? 5 rupees. Agreed. Now they are not being sold. They are being taken over. They are being cancelled. And this is permitted. That's correct. How many number of shares will be issued for one share you are holding? Will it be 0.03369 or 0.0168? How many shares you will be getting? 100 into what? 100 into 0.03369, right?
No, 0.168.
0.0168. If there are two categories of shareholders, their exchange ratio will be different. The exchange ratio will be different. Yes, you can say this. The exchange ratio is 0.03369 for every fully paid up shares. For every fully paid up shares. But that is all right. Is it all right? It is one and the same thing. 7.2.5. This is the last question that we'll be doing in this category. We always keep a somewhat typical question at last, and so we'll be doing this at last. 7.2.6 is mistakenly written over here. We will be transferring it to valuation. You will be finding out this in class work of valuation. There is also one more question. what is the value of the firm. There is no concept of merger and acquisition, so better is we transfer it to valuation. 7.2.7. MS Tiger Limited wants to acquire Leopard Limited. The balance sheet of Leopard Limited, so balance sheet is of selling company. Cash is there, debtors is there, inventory is there, plant and equipment is there. Equity capital 70,000 shares. Where is equity capital? Alright, this figure is I think missing. 339, 312. 369.
7 lakh rupees. 7 lakh.
It is 7 lakhs rupees. Thank you. Retained earnings is given, 12% debenture is given, creditors, and this we need not find out. This might be already given, it is just not printed. Additional information. Shareholders of Leopard Limited. Now read the question very carefully. This is not a very normal question which was asked in merger and acquisition. Shareholders of Leopard Limited will get 1 share in Tiger Limited for every 2 shares held. Shareholders of Leopard Limited will get 1 share in Tiger Limited for every 2 shares held. If I go fast, exchange ratio will be 0.5. External liabilities are expected to be settled at 5 lakhs. What are external liabilities? This. Shares of Tiger Limited would be issued at its current price of 115 rupees. So Tiger Limited MPS is 15 rupees. How many shares will be issued at an exchange ratio of 0.5? Debenture holders will get 13% convertible debentures in purchasing company of same amount. Debtors and inventories are expected to realize 2 lakhs rupees. This is very weird. Why I will tell you. First of all, whenever this purchasing company issues this many shares, how many shares will be issued? I will tell you. There are total 70,000 shares of N2. Multiplied by exchange ratio is 0.5. So 35,000 shares will be issued. Sorry. 35,000 shares will be issued at a rate of, this will be a purchasing company given to shareholders of selling company. And what is the market value of this 35,000 shares? They've already given it at the rate of 15. So what is the value you are paying to shareholders of selling company is 35,000 into 50. It is 5,25,000 rupees. Let me first go ahead and let me see what they are asking. Tiger Limited has decided to operate the business of Leopard Limited as a separate division. So they will be purchasing the company, but the company will remain physically where it was before, and they will be just operating it. Is it correct? The division is likely to give a cash flow after tax to an extent of 5 lakh per year for 6 years. Tiger Limited has planned that after 6 years, this division would be demerged and disposed at the rate of rupees 2 lakhs. The company's cost of capital is 16%. I think by the second point and third point, I can find out value of Leopard Limited by that present value of future cash flow method. Make a report to the board of the companies advising them about the financial feasibility of this acquisition. Alright. Try to concentrate. Tiger Limited is a purchasing company, Leopard Limited is a selling company, whereby you will have to pay them 5,25,000 rupees to shareholders. That's it, all right. Now all assets and liabilities belongs to you. That's all right. How many more assets you are getting? Try to concentrate. How many more assets you are getting? This you will be paying. To whom you will be paying? To shareholders. Yes. Are you paying something to debenture holders? Yes, you are paying something to debenture holders also. Debenture holders will be given 13% convertible debentures of rupees 3 lakhs. You will be paying to debenture holders? Sir, up till now we were not calculating this. I totally agree. That's correct. Then, what will be given to creditors and other liabilities is 5 lakhs rupees. This is the total you will be giving. What is the amount? 13 lakh 20. But what you will be getting? Debtors that you are selling and expected to realize 2 lakhs, assuming they will be realizing 2 lakhs. This you are giving a total amount. What you are getting from debtors is 2 lakhs. What you are getting from inventory, this is from debtors and inventory, 2 lakhs, yes. So this both are, what you will be getting from cash is 50,000. And what you will be getting from fixed asset, this is plant and equipment. Now this plant and equipment will be running as a separate company or a separate unit. Is it correct? This plant and equipment, and what you will be getting next is plant and equipment. Are you going to sell this plant and equipment? No. Then how much money this plant and equipment will generate? This plant and equipment is going to be used as a separate unit. How much cash flow it will be generating? 5 lakh per year for 6 years. And in 6th year, there will be a terminal value of 2 lakhs rupees. Find out a present value at the rate of present value at the rate of 16%. If you don't know this, you should go to previous chapters of time value of money. This I am finding out in calculator. You can find it out with GT. I am finding out with M+. 1 divided by 1.16 is equal to M plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. MRC multiplied by 5 lakhs will be 18,42,367. Two lakhs. I need to find out present value. 1 divided by 1.16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 multiplied by 2 lakhs is 82,088. Total present value will be 184,2367 plus 82088. 19,24,455. Who is going to generate this cash? Who is going to generate this present value of cash? Believe me, is a fixed asset. or plant and machinery. This is value generated by plant and machinery. What is this? Present value of future cash flow. What is this? Maximum price you should be ready to pay for this plant and machinery. What is this? This is value of plant and machinery. You are getting plant and machinery? Yes. Of worth? Book value? No. Of worth this 19,24,455. See what you are getting. It is 2 lakhs plus 50,000 plus 19,24,455. It is 21,74,455. This is you are getting. Let's start it. What they are saying us to find out. Try to concentrate. Make a report to board of company advising them about the financial feasibility of acquisition. Start it. Acquisition is financially feasible. How? This is greater than this. If what you are getting is greater than what you are paying, you should always go for acquisition. A typical type of sum where the traditional concept of exchange ratio is used just over here. Please understand how suggested or book or some of the students find out. They have just mugged up this type of question. What they do is they find out net asset. That is what you are paying minus this. They say this as a present value of cash outflow. Is it present value of cash outflow? The answer is yes. I can agree. Is it correct? Why? This is what you are paying, so it is outflow. This is what you are getting, so it is subtracted, so it is nothing but present value of cash outflow. This is present value of cash inflow. They find out NPV and then they say NPV is positive, so you should accept the project, and so they will give the same decision that acquisition is financially feasible. Try to concentrate what is happening. The broad concept is, out of this balance sheet, this you are going to merge. This you are going to merge, this you are going to merge. This will be paid. They are no longer your shareholders. You will be just issuing them some number of shares. Yes, they will become your shareholders, but you will be just giving them number of shares. This will be merged. This debenture holders will become debenture holders of your company. This you are paying up. So what you are practically purchasing is plant and equipment. So where you are interested is in plant and equipment. For purchasing this plant and equipment, you will have to purchase liabilities also. Is it all right? So, how much you will be giving to shareholders? This much. How much you will be giving to liabilities? This much. But because of your full purchase of company, you will be also getting some of the asset. Which assets you are getting? This. So this 13,25,000 minus 2,50,000 will become my payment. That is present value of cash outflow. What I am getting by doing all this thing, I am getting plant and machinery. And what is present value of this plant and machinery is present value of cash inflow. And believe me, in that case also the difference will remain same. So even if you understand by this method what you are paying, what you are getting, and just write down your decision is absolutely correct. Even if the calculation is easy, I mark this type of question as always excellent question, because here you need to think something. 7.2.8.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, irrespective, the answer won't matter, but
Yes.
those 13% debentures which we are converting,
Yes.
supposingly we will dispose them also after 6 years when we will dispose this division. So not to consider the interest of those 6 years by discounting it also. Because
I didn't get your question. Can you repeat the question?
there are 12% debentures of 3 lakhs, correct?
All right.
We are accepting that also.
You are not accepting. You will be giving your 12% debentures of the rupees 3 lakhs. All right.
Yes, I will be giving my 13% debenture. So need not we consider the interest also by discounting it at present value?
How you will consider the interest?
Because had we not purchased the company, I would not have paid the interest.
All right.
So it is actually my cost.
All right.
So shall I not consider that also by discounting the 6
All right.
years interest?
You are purchasing a full company. Huh? So this cash flow will adjust that. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
So I am telling you that this amount is for plant and equipment. Ultimately, this cash flow is happening because you are taking over a company. So they should have. So now understand, you are a chartered accountant who is actually giving this advice. So you will tell to the client that you hire an economist who gives you cash flows. Remember, when he is finding out this cash flow, that interest portion should be deducted. Because this plant and machinery is coupled with your debentures. Now it is your debentures, but previously it was before debentures. So that interest should be calculated. But Mac, if you consider that interest, then you should not consider 3 lakhs over here. Huh? Are you getting it? Otherwise it is repetition.
Yes, then we will assume it that the 3 lakhs also will transfer it at the end of 6 years as a separate division.
Exactly. Is it all right? But then the 3 lakhs should not be considered. Is it all right? Either you consider interest or you consider the principal value. You cannot consider both.
Yes, got it.
Is it all right? So if this is 3 lakhs, your question is incorrect. The interest will not be even deducted from this. All right. Because the interest for, see what you are assuming, this is a liability. You are paying this liability at the rate of rupees 3 lakhs. All right. Now try to concentrate. You will say me, sir, this 3 lakhs rupees is face value. Need not you pay interest? Yes, you need to pay interest. If you are borrowing, say, this 3 lakhs rupees from a bank and paying this off, would you not be paying that 3 lakhs rupees interest to the bank? The answer is yes. Just the thing is, instead of repaying this debentures, you are continuing this debentures. If you are continuing this debentures, your 3 lakhs rupees today is saved. So your interest is saved, and that should be nullified for the purpose of decision making as far as this decision is concerned. So interest on this debentures is irrelevant for decision making. This should be the ultimate answer. This is the same question. We are not redoing it. We should not redo it. It is RTP 9, November 18. Alright. So one question we have transferred to valuation, right? And we have completed the second category of questions. See, what we have done is we have divided merger and acquisition into 3 parts. First is simple question where the exchange ratio is given based upon EPS, MPS is given. Sometimes they give 3 types of questions and then they say you find out the answer. These are second category of sums where normally the selling company's value is to be found out by finding out present value of future cash flows. These are somewhat typical questions. If you are revising day before examination, all this type of question should be revised because they are not repetitive. And third questions will be mixed questions. They might be based upon exchange ratio, based upon market price, but they are mixed question, but they are not direct questions like in category number 1 questions. So we have divided this chapter into just 3 parts. We are going to one question. Where we have written, we'll be doing it last, right? It is 3.2.5. Alright. Now this is interesting. This requires a knowledge of cost of capital. Believe me, in category number 3 questions also we'll be doing. what is required is knowledge of cost of capital. If you are not having it, you might get it over here also. The valuation done of an established company by a well-known analyst has estimated a value of 500 lakhs. So a person has already valued a company. And the valuation is 500 lakhs. Again, this is more of valuation, but let me do it right now. Based on expected free cash flow for next year of rupees 20 lakhs and an expected growth rate of 5%. So what that person has done is this. Based on expected free cash flow for next year as 20 lakhs. So cash flow of first year he has taken 20 lakhs. And an expected growth rate of 5%. So growth rate he has taken as 5%. He has valued the company by this present value of future cash flows with growth. How we find out? Cash flow of first year divided by rate of interest minus 3. This is the discount rate they might have used. They have already found out the value, which is 500 lakhs. Cash flow of first year also they have given is 20 lakhs. So this is the discount rate minus growth rate is 5%. Start. What will be rate of interest? ROI minus 0.05 or 5%. Is it 20 divided by 500? Lakhs will get cancelled. This is 0. ROI will be 0. It will be 0.04. Let me do it properly. 20 lakhs divided by 500 lakhs. Stop. So ROI will be 20 divided by 500 will be 0.04. This will go over here and will become plus 0.05. This will be 0.09. That is 9%. So what a discount rate this particular person has used? The person who has valued this company, he has used 9%. And believe me, what is the discount rate which normally company uses? Overall cost of capital, KO, or weighted average cost of capital. How to find out weighted average cost of capital is very simple. You take equity, you take debt, you take weight, you take a cost over here. Weight can be taken as market value or face value, and this will be taken as I, this will be taken as W, sigma IW divided by sigma cost of capital intermediate level. Start. While going through the valuation procedure, you found that the analyst has made a mistake of using book value of the debt and equity in his calculation. While you do not know the book value weight he used, you have been provided with the following information. Alright. So, the KO which was used by analyst was 9%. Equity, debt. He has taken weight of book value. Normally it should be taken of market value. What weight he has taken is not known, but further they have given some information. Company has a cost of equity of 12%. And after tax cost of debt of 6%. If it is before tax, you need to convert it into after tax. The market value of equity is 3 times the book value of equity, while the market value of debt is equal to book value of debt. So market value of equity, market value of equity is 3 times book value of equity. Can I write down this? Book value of equity multiplied by 3 will be is equal to market value of equity, and market value of debt is equal to book value of debt. Now try to concentrate. This is 9%. This KO is 9%. If KO is 9%, I can find out this weight. So believe me, that's a simple average. If it is simple average, weights are equal. Correct. Then only this will be 9%. So book value weights of equity and debt are equal. Is it right? Say book value of equity is rupees 100. See, when it is weight, you can take anything. 1 rupee, 100 rupee, 200 rupee, it does not make any difference. Is it all right? Then book value of debt will be also rupees 100. If book value of equity is rupees 100, what will be market value of equity? Market value of equity is book value of equity into 3, that is 300. And market value of debt remains same as book value, that is 100. I am finding out a new KO based upon market value. This was based upon book value. I want based upon market value. Equity, debt, 12%, 6%. The weight which should be used is 3 and 1. This is I, this is W. Sir, should I not find out proportion? It is absolutely alright. It is weight. Ultimately, at last, it is going to remain same. That is 36. 42 divided by 4. It is 10.5%. So, what is KO based upon book value is 9%. But the management thinks that KO based upon market value should be used as a discounted way. So, instead of 9%, what you should use is 10.5%. Then, the market value of equity is so and so. You are required to estimate the correct value of the company or value of company based upon KO, which is based upon market value. Say, value of company is a present value of future cash flow of first year divided by rate of interest minus G. Cash flow of first year I am knowing it is 20 lakhs. Upon rate of interest is 10.5% now. Minus G is 5%. Which is 20 divided by 5.5%. It is 363.63. It is 20 divided by 5%. 20 divided by 5.5%. It is 363.63. This is nothing but correct value of, it cannot be told as correct value of the company, but value of the company based upon a discount rate which is based upon market value and not a book value weights. This is, believe me, this question is of valuation of company. We have done it over here because, believe me, in valuation of company, we value a company. In merger and acquisition, we value a selling company. So the concept remains the same. Valuation of the company is same as merger and acquisition. I have given it a separate chapter's name, but it is as good as merger and acquisition, because in merger and acquisition we value selling company by book value, by market value, by EPS, by present value of future cash flow. The same thing will be repeated in valuation of companies, and we will be just doing some additional questions. But yes, there will not be exchange ratio, because yet you are just valuing the company, not actually purchasing the company. So those were category number 2 questions. Tomorrow we'll be solving category number 3 questions. Again, there will be some good questions of merger and acquisition.